Our future is looking sort of strange, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to get into a ton of stuff in this video, like usual. And actually, we have some big things going on in Ohio. You can definitely want to hear about this. We're going to get into what's going on with the economy, and we're talking across the world. We're seeing deflationary spirals in some of the biggest economies around the world, while at the same time, we just crossed the inflection point for the yield curve, which indicates we're going to have a stock market crash within the next few months at any time. And so we're going to see something huge coming with the economy very soon here. We're not going to get into also a ton of other things. Cats, dogs, ducks, and chickens. I'm sure you guys heard about all this. Ducks on the barbecue, right? Yes, indeed. Some people, of course, coming from, other countries are doing this, and it's not for the reasons people think. It's not because they're hungry. We'll get into that as well. And actually, we're going to get to a lot of stuff. Also, slightly get into the debate again and much more. And actually, we're going to get into this dream. I just heard about it today. It comes from Troy Black, and this sounds kind of like one of these really scary, of course, movies, okay? And I'm going to go through it and just tell you what I think about it, because I don't really fully believe it. I don't think it's theoretically possible, actually, in some respects. Although, I could be wrong. I guess anything's possible these days, but we've seen all these other things happen that didn't seem possible. Who knows, right? We'll get into that dark, of course, dream and much more. Let's start. Where are we going to start here? I got so many. Let's see what we have here. Let's just start over here. Okay, so we have, of course, Macy's closing 55 stores. This is just giving you indication kind of what's going on with the economy. We have, of course, Big Lots closing. And we're seeing a ton of trucking companies. And we have a new one going out of business immediately and abruptly. And we're seeing this happen a lot more. So we have, of course, as I mentioned, China in a deflationary spiral. This, of course, we saw a little bit back when we had the 2008 crash, and also back in 1999 when we had the crash. Very obviously another indicator that we're right there. It's going to happen. We also saw the Japanese stock market crash like 3 weeks ago now. And we're seeing Germany. So China's the number 2 economy. Germany is like number 3 or 4. I can't remember. They're pretty high up there, or they used to be at least. Industrial output slumps, fueling recession fears. Now, what's going on here with China? Who buys all their stuff, or at least who used to? You and I. Guess what? We're not buying anything. Probably that's why they're having all their issues, right? They're having a lot of issues with their manufacturing, and apparently a lot of other areas as well. The real estate's crashing big time as well, from what I understand. They're going down very quickly, and I think we're next. We have, of course, this will give you an idea as well. Business statistics, 33.3 million small businesses. Half of the Americans are employed by small businesses. And now we're having a new article come out saying that 47% of them can't pay rent, which is up from April, which was around 40-something. It was lower. And, of course, considering the fact that they're paying you to work for them and are not able to pay their rent, not really the best sign in the world, right? So you got that going on. You have, of course, the insurance crisis in Florida. We're seeing this in other states as well. People are simply not able to afford their insurance anymore. And, of course, while all this is occurring, we have scientists claiming that we need to turn off our air conditioners because we need to, due to global warming, right? So it's kind of amazing. I feel like it's very similar, like what's going on with this whole climate change thing, particularly with these big companies talking about it all the time, trying to get people to pay in or whatever. It's just like these get rich guys. It's just kind of like these prosperity preachers. It's like a scheme. You give me money and you get nothing in return. And I don't think they're planting trees per se either. So it's a kind of amazing to see them pushing this type of, turn off your air conditioner type of thing. Almost like they want you to own, of course, nothing and at the same time be happy, right? So Now, I wanted to get into this dream. Let's get into this dream a little bit because this is rather bizarre. And we're going to also get into the debate a little bit, and the dogs and cats and chickens and ducks and all that stuff as well. But actually, maybe I should do that. Should I do that one first? Maybe the ducks and all that stuff. Let's get into that one first, I guess. We have a number of tweets and things going on around this. You have these funny memes going out to save the ducks and the kittens and stuff. And the thing is a lot of people don't understand why they're doing this. You see all these weird videos. They're like in a suburban area, and somebody comes out and is like, my cat. He was like literally eating, my cat on the side of the road. And you're like, why are they doing it? They're not even cooking it, right? And it seems very strange. The reason why they're doing it, just to give you a very simple idea, let's look at what country particularly is involved in this. It, of course, is Haitians. This is what the search term, the search phrases went viral of recent on Google. And why is that important? Because, of course, they practice voodoo in that country. They're well known for it. So what are they doing with these ducks and cats? They're not just eating them. Is it normal for people to go around eating things they don't cook? No, of course not. And so why are they doing this? It's probably for spiritual dominion. They are taking these, animals and doing things, of course, with them. We're talking, rituals, and then, of course, eating them. This is what's really going on. This is why people are not really understanding what this is all about. And I had more on that, I think. No, I think that was basically it. I was just gonna show these funny memes. I think I had something else too. Yeah. I got more. Let me show you more. I accidentally put some stuff in the wrong place. So this all comes back to the not so legals coming in. You have looting, massive looting in DC at Gucci stores and a lot of the different stores in the city center in Georgetown, in Columbia Heights, in Logan Circle. All these businesses in that area. Probably the one place where they make quite a bit of money in DC, and massive amounts of, looting happening there. This, of course, is likely, just like we saw in New York City, partially because of these gangs, because of these not so legals. We're seeing also our own military. We have, of course, documents, thousands of prison, gang. We're talking from Venezuela, running, of course, amok in, America. We're seeing this happening right now. Documents that came out saying this while they try to tell us, oh, it's nothing, nothing's happening. Ducks, dogs, right? They're just like laughing like it's no big deal. Like we saw in the debate, she was laughing about it. Oh, what are you talking about? You're just making stuff up now. We have here, can't take it anymore. Residents of Springfield, in Ohio, beg for help after 20,000, Haitians come in. And they're not just eating them. They're doing other things. We're talking about voodoo. That's what we're talking about. It's a spiritual thing. There's a lot of that going on as well. So we're going to get into tons more in this video. I was going to talk about this video from Troy Black, which he says some rather interesting things. And I personally don't think, if it's symbolic, okay, whatever. But I don't think that literally what he says could happen. But before we go any further, my friends, I got to mention food supply, 25 years shelf life. Link is in the description. 4 weeks worth for $187. They have brought back this price. You can buy 1, 2, 3, however many you want to buy. $5.60 for 3 of them. Link is in the description. Much cheaper than actual, what you would pay in Kroger or Walmart. Although this is not food you would eat every day. This is something for in case something happened. Like what we're going to talk about in the stream in a minute here. Literally what he was saying in the stream. He's talking about food being cut, of course, off. He's talking about electricity being cut, of course, off. This is the kind of stuff he's saying. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about how I think it could happen, how I think some of what he says doesn't seem possible unless it's being symbolic partially. I do think it's partial. I think it's possible when it comes to like if there's like some sort of massive over like, weeks, a couple weeks. I think that's very easily possible. Now, some of the stuff he says is a little bit different. He's talking about something else, and we'll get into that. But I think it's wise to have it just in case anyways. Link is in the description. Of course, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, How to Build a Cellar, Do Things Around the House like in good old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely want it considering we don't know what's next. I had a dream about power being, of course, out at the end of this year. A lot of people apparently have had this dream because I'm seeing a lot of other videos saying this. You might want to get this book just in case. Get the printed version. It's like $37 plus shipping. Link is in the description. Also, my website, GR Videos. Go check it out as well. Got tons of videos over there. Ones that are not over here anymore are over there. I've probably made 2,000 videos total. I don't have a 2,000 on the site, but I have over 1,000, I'm pretty sure. Link is in the description. I didn't put everything over there because there's some that are just redundant or maybe just, news for that time 4 years ago, which don't matter today really as much. I only put the ones that are really important over there. Link is in the description for that. Let's see here. And, of course, all my social media is linked below, all that kind of stuff. Go check it out. Let's get back to the video. So we have here Troy Black talking about a dream. I believe it was his father-in-law had. And he's talking about something of a new happening in the not-so-distant future. Sounds like soon here. They're going to try it again. Yes, indeed. And this time, and it kind of makes sense if you start thinking about logically some of the stuff he says, but some of it I don't think is possible. Like, for example, it does make sense. Like, I'm guessing the red, states would probably not go along with it. The blue would probably go along with it. And then they would be able to use that within society to start doing stuff like saying, look, they're not closing. So we should not buy any of their stuff. We should not give them anything. We should not work with them. We should just cut them off, right? So that makes some sense in that respect. The only problem with it is our society is so integrated. Everything that we have going on in our society is extremely integrated. I used to work at a semi-truck company. It would get thousands of parts from different places, all across the country, other countries even. If you tried to shut down an entire, state, it's not going to work out too well because there's going to be blue, states that need things from that state. So it makes no sense that they would be able to shut down entire things like that. It makes no sense. But you could see how they would play a game where they could say, look, they're not doing what's right. They're not closing or whatever. And they could somehow try to, sort of diminish things, like maybe make it harder. You could see some of that. Now, he says in this video that they get blockaded. And he says, let me show you how this doesn't make sense, at least to me. So here you got some maps, red and blue. Clearly, basically what he's saying here in the dream is that the red ones, get blockaded from the blue. But see, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So what are we blockaded from? Okay, well, some stuff is grown in California. That's true. 11% of the crop is grown in California. But they don't grow all the crop. It's only 11%. And if you go look at the stuff they grow, it's not really stuff you eat every day. Almost none of it is. Like avocados, you eat those every day. You know what I mean? Like they do grow some stuff you eat every day, but not as much as you might think. What else could be blockaded? Maybe exports and imports. Well, what are we going to export and import? TVs. I mean, we're not usually doing that with food unless it's from Mexico, which clearly you could get through Texas. You see what I mean? Although if Texas was blue, that would be an issue. That would be a big issue then, because then you wouldn't be able to get certain crops from Mexico. See what I mean? Very easily, unless you did it through planes, and then it would cost more money, obviously. So a lot, and of course, well, there's the Great Lakes, but Indiana has a very small link to Lake Michigan. So, like I said, so he's saying basically we'd somehow be blockaded from food. I don't really see it that way. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, actually. I mean, you could say some of it could be blockaded. 11%. That would make less food in the store, right? That would be less. That would be an issue. And then looking at other things like maybe where are all the power plants in the USA, where are they all located? Here we go. Obviously, it's sort of all across the place. I can see how there could be power issues in some of these northern states that are red a little bit. Let me back up. What are some of these states up here? Yeah, so some of these up here might have issues. Montana. Well, Montana doesn't have a lot of people. I've been there. North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska. Could be some issues there. That'd be kind of strange. Like I said, I'm just trying to analyze whether his dream would even make any sense, if it could even theoretically happen. Now, so this is kind of what he was saying, and that they would actually have less food, and actually some people wouldn't get enough food. I don't really see this as actually theoretically possible fully. I could see like less items being available, more expensive. I could see, limited energy in some areas maybe. I could see the only issue is, you see what I mean? Like, I don't see how this could theoretically happen exactly as it's saying. And also, by the way, if they did do this, it would hurt the blue states just as much, because what would ultimately happen is all the stuff that they would, everything's so integrated, right? Manufacturing, just everything is integrated so much so. In any product you buy, I mean, even something as simple as this, you might get the plastic from one area, you get the label from a different area. I mean, it is a very simple item, but like a phone especially, you got hundreds of parts in it coming from all different places across America and other countries. You would see nothing being made anymore. Everything would come to a grinding halt. The entire economy would be destroyed by something like this. Also, on top of that, you have Twitter and you have other social media to where you could get the word out, which clearly would not work in their favor either. Then you could come back to the whole idea of that we had 2 or 3 weeks without power. That'd be kind of interesting as well. So I really don't see how this is. I mean, if they tried something like this, it wouldn't work. But what's interesting is he said for the stream that actually that was what would happen. It would actually backfire, and it would actually hurt them just as much. So I mean, that is true. So just analyzing this dream of his, and his video is called this right here. Let me just show you it. That's the video he put out yesterday. And like I said, I don't think this, I mean, they could try some of this, but it wouldn't pan out at all. And if anything, if you think about it, if the red, states are staying open, they're the ones producing things. If the blue are closed, they're not producing anything. So how are they going to do anything to us? You see what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, really. It seems illogical, partially. But I could see a little bit, because California is really big, has it has a pretty big GDP, although they have a massive deficit of $200 million a year, which means they can't operate on their own. They literally can't operate on their own. If they were their own country, they would be completely out of business. They would be completely bankrupt in like no time flat, because they have the biggest deficit. They may produce a lot of crops, 11%, but they would have to completely shrink their GOV and do a ton of stuff if they were their own separate country. And they wouldn't be able to function on their own. So me, with my background with business and engineering, I can see how this would not pan out very well. I don't know if the rest of it's symbolic, but I couldn't see how this could even work very well. If they did blockade, it would only stop imports of like TVs and stuff, which I'm sure, since people are pretty broke, they wouldn't really care about anyways. There's probably going to be plenty of TVs in your Walmart for another year because no one's buying them. You know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. What would they blockade us from other than like 11% of the crops? I mean, that's about all they could do. Literally. That's it. I don't see how they could really do much of anything. They could play issues with power in the northern states, maybe. I could see that a little bit. That would be an issue. But I don't know, man. I just feel like, I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts and assessment on his father-in-law's dream or whatever. I don't see it panning out too well for him if they did do that stuff. But who knows, man? Like, they've done stuff that I wasn't thinking would happen before, and I don't, you know what I mean? But like we saw back in 2020, that was not something you could easily predict would happen, right? Not really. Although I did talk about stuff like that before, but I never saw it that happening like that, right? So who knows, right? At any rate, so there's that. What else do I got to talk about? Yeah, we can get into a few other things here. I talked about the trucking company and Macy's. I talked about what's going on in these other countries. The fact is, it does make sense that this would be the time they would do something because they are losing their, of course, power. And so we're seeing, of course, U.S. bankruptcy filings spike in August. So we are indeed at that point where things would happen. We are also coming up on something at the end of this year, which is obvious. They want, another, of course, 4 years, right? So that's another issue. These are all things that will play into this. You have these banks losing money. Goldman Sachs to post 400 million hit. Third quarter results as unwinds. Consumer business, and that's, of course, because it actually goes back to what I was talking about with these small businesses not paying rent. Some of them are probably purposely not paying because they have all their workers working from home. They don't even need that piece of real estate anymore. They're going to just let it default. They'll let the bank take it. And that's why these banks are losing tons of money because their commercial real estate loans are garbage. So they're posting losses from it. Bank of America stock falls. Warren Buffett keeps selling. He's selling because he knows the stock market's coming in the next 3 months. That's why he keeps selling, even though the outlets keep telling you, oh, it's a soft landing. Oh, everything's fine. Oh, inflation's done. Give me a break, dude. So, of course, they play their formula games with inflation when in reality it's probably 10%, not 2.5. They do all these things. You have all these CEOs selling off their stuff. Salesforce, Benioff, cashing out at a rate of $3 million a day. I don't blame them, honestly. If I were you, if you have a 401k, you might want to get that in order right now because stock market crash is coming right now. So, also we had this. This seemed to become big news for some reason. People praying, like some people were, up in arms over it. Some people were like, "Oh, this is awesome." We should be doing more of this. Okay, we should be doing more of this. You got the Tuckmeister. You got Russell here. This is what should be done all the time. We should be doing this on a regular basis. Our country is supposed to be, of course, or allegedly, Christian, right? So you got that going on as well. What else do we got? Bank of America could hit 3,000 an ounce, so gold is going up soon here. Might be wise to go buy some. We've already seen it go up partially this year. Particularly when there's a stock market crash, gold and silver are going to go through the roof. You're going to definitely want to buy some of that right now. Link is in the description for that. We have also this digital, of course, ID that are being introduced in Europe right now. And so that's a big deal. That's being introduced right now in almost every country in the EU other than 2 of them. What was it? Ireland and Cyprus. All the other ones, including Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, are all part of this. So to go between different countries, entry and exit system. You also have something similar here, but not really. It's kind of, you can't, it's a little bit of the same thing, sort of a crafty version. You have the Real ID, right, which is just the updated driver's license, which, of course, probably most people have already gotten at this point. But soon here, you'll need it just to be able to fly within the U.S., which is kind of curious. Apparently, a passport's not enough. You have to have that. See what I mean? So that is kind of similar in that respect. Also, we've seen signs of this as well. Social, of course, credit system, that coming into play as well. And you're starting to see these, particularly parties in different countries. Here's Germany, far, left. It's called D-Link, I guess, saying that they need to pull the plug on Elon and X, right? And that's because they lost. They literally lost. Okay, they just lost. And of course, right won there. And they immediately, after they won, stopped the not-so-legals from coming in on all sides of the country. And now these guys are not happy about it. And they're saying that he runs Tesla like a dictator. Stuff like that, just making stuff up. But so you got that going on. And there's a number of other things I wanted to talk about, but we'll get into it in another video. Kind of what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.